Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. I would truthfully like to spend one full day with Mark Davis just to get a glimpse at who that man truly is. Perna. That's my name. And today I'm breaking down this Broncos-Raiders game. We know Broncos fans and Raiders fans hate each other, but once a year I like to honor the greatest Raider fan in history.
Nigga, I'm keeping it real.
Guess what, John Elway's not black.
I know he's white.
Horrible. He's less
But you know what? That's why I hate his motherfucking ass. That's why I hate it, because he ain't black and he ain't a Raider, but he was a bad motherfucking white boy. Okay.
God bless that man. And backed by popular demand, I'm predicting this game with my patent point system, even though it's a pain in my ass to do. I evaluate all the position groups and award the superior group or player a point. The team with the most points at the end gets the win prediction. If you're new here, that means nothing. If you've been around a while, it means everything, apparently. That's good sports. Please make sure you subscribe here and like this video. Give it a thumbs up! I am gonna do a Patreon giveaway this week on my Patreon account, this ProLine Zip hoodie for my patrons, and I'll have Big Dick Player Patreon shoutouts at the end of this episode. We are sponsored by SquadQL today, one of the best fantasy management apps out there. Go to squadql.com to download the app. With the app, you can manage multiple fantasy teams from multiple leagues. They will optimize your lineup every week with just a click of the button. It factors in different league scoring systems and really just makes playing fantasy football easy. Unless, of course, you started the Ravens defense like I did last night. SquadQL.com. Check it out. So if the Broncos and Raiders were rappers, the Broncos would be J. Cole, and the Raiders would be Lil Xan.
I wake up, I throw up, I feel like I'm dead.
Wake up, throw up. Basically what Raiders players do every Monday after they lose.
I wake up, I throw up, I feel like I'm dead.
And Raiders fans might actually be 6'9", but with uglier shit on their faces. And because of this, the Broncos get a half-point advantage. Actually, the half point is for home field advantage, as is tradition. First matchup, Vance Joseph versus John Gruden. Wow, talk about a battle for the ages here, kids. Gruden got ripped to shreds this week and last week, pretty much every week after his first joyous week when he returned to the NFL. Part of me wants to give Chucky some credit because I like John Gruden, just not as a head coach of the team I have hated the most until the Patriots came along. How can you not love a guy who says this?
We're calling Martavis the White Tiger, but we call Galloway the White Tiger in Tampa. White Tiger, really special, like the White Tiger.
I hope White Tigers can help the Raiders not have 10 first-half penalties. The Raiders finished last game with 11 penalties for 155 yards and looked anemic in the pass rush department without Khalil Mack. John Gruden's constructed the oldest roster in the NFL, and because of that, I'm gonna give Vance Joseph a quarter-point advantage. Nah, fuck that. Half point because the last good season Derek Carr had, Bill Musgrave was his OC. Now, he's Case Keenum's OC, and Gruden is 1-9 all-time against the Broncos. Raiders secondary versus Broncos ball catchers. 'Twas a weakness for the Raiders last season, and 'twas a weakness after week 1 for the Raiders. Again, keeping in theme, Gruden allowed TJ Carey to hit the free agent market. And just like that, his best corner vanished, off to the Browns. Carey chose to sign with the Browns. Oakland Safeties Reggie Nelson, Marcus Gilchrist, and slot corner Leon Hall are entering their 12th, 8th, and 12th seasons. If Case Keenum throws picks to these arthritic safeties like he did to McDougal and Thomas last week, we can officially start to worry about Keenum, as they had 0 picks week 1 and barely any all of 2017. Emmanuel Sanders, a huge week 1. Demaryius Targaryen, a quiet 63 yards and a game-winning touchdown. Jake Butt converted 2 third downs. Deshaun Hamilton earned his stripes blocking downfield. And Courtland Sutton is the guy I think makes a big play against the Raiders. And the Broncos will have a tight end catch a touchdown in this game. That's my prediction. Don't know if it'll be Butt or Heuerman, but gimme a tight end touchdown. Gimme it. You better fucking gimme it. This is an easy 1-point advantage for the Broncos. Broncos offensive line and running backs versus Raiders front seven. The Raiders totaled 1 sack against the Rams. That belonged to Bruce Irvin, but what else did they do? Nothing. They played well in the first half, but gave up 108 to Todd Gurley on the ground, 2 passing TDs to Jared Goff. Stat alert, the Rams rushed for 141 yards against the black and silver. Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman combined for 142 against the Seahawks. Royce Freeman faced a stacked box, meaning 8 guys up front, more than any other running back week 1. Raiders nose tackle Justin Ellis was placed on IR this week, making that D-line even weaker. And I think Royce Freeman shines in this game. The Raiders stadium is called the Black Hole, but their defensive front 7 will be giving giant black holes for Broncos running backs to glide through like they were covered in KY. Broncos finished with the 2nd highest run blocking grade week 1 on Pro Football Focus. A huge victory for that offensive line. Matt Paradis received the highest overall grade for any center in the NFL. And then you had Jared Veldheer, Garrett Bowles, Ron Leary, and Andy Janovich all in the top 10 grades for the Broncos. Jared Veldheer allowed 0 pressures, continuing his streak from the preseason. And I am so happy to give the Broncos line full point advantage. Broncos line, full point advantage. You heard me right. Special teams versus special teams. Not only did John Gruden get rid of his best pass rusher, his best corner, he cut one of the best punters in the game in Marquette King. I'm not sure who hates King more though, John Gruden or 104.3 The Fans D-Mac. All I know is Brandon McManus slayed the Gooch week 1 with 2 50-plus yard field goals. He's better than Mike Nugent in Oakland, as is King over Johnny Townsend, and the Broncos coverage units looked great week 1. Denver gets a quarter-point advantage, and also Reddit user CPrice412 gave Marquette King the nickname Kingpin, which is far better than what I had going. King supers the Marquette for punting. Just thought there would be good sponsorship opportunity there for Marquette King and King Supers. Broncos defensive front 7 versus Raiders offensive line and running backs. This will be the battle of the day. Raiders strength versus Broncos defensive strength. Last week, it was the opposite. Broncos strength versus Seattle's weakness. 2 things the Broncos coaching staff must change are Shaquil Barrett's reps and Shelby Harris's reps. Barrett got 4 snaps week 1 and had a sack and a run stop on those 4 plays. Why is Shane Ray getting 4 more times as many reps as Shaq? And why is Bradley Chubb taking more reps than Von Miller when you have Shaq Barrett sitting on the sideline? Also, and it pains me to say this, but Domata Peko should not be starting at nose tackle. Shelby Harris is literally better than him in every statistical category. Run defense, tackling, and pressures right now. Harris should be on the field more than Peko. Von Miller said this is the best offensive line in the NFL. He should know, I guess. So I expect less sacks this week. Maybe just 4 for the Broncos. Marshawn Lynch is always a challenge in the run game, but Jalen Richard worries me as a pass-catching running back. Oakland had 95 yards on the ground last week. Denver allowed 63, so I think you split the difference there. 80 rush yards for the Raiders, a number I can live with. 0.5 advantage for the Broncos. It would be more, but I do like the challenge the Raiders line presents. Broncos secondary versus Raiders ball catchers. We now know the real reason the Broncos signed Adam Jones is because they have no faith in Tremaine Brock. Brock played just 2 snaps last week. Jones had 38. Pac-Man was the 3rd highest rated defensive player on the team, making that signing for Denver look very smart. He and Chris Harris gave up a total of 3 catches for 16 yards. Roby gave up 3 receptions for 33 yards and that touchdown to Brandon Marshall. He has to play better, especially seeing Aqib Talib only give up 1 reception week 1. I think the Broncos can cover the Raiders receivers, including newly signed White Tiger, but the real problem here is Jared Cook and Jalen Richard. Now, I doubt Jared Cook slams the Broncos defense for 9 catches and 180 yards like he did last week, but I'm not as worried as everyone else is about him. My biggest fear is actually running back Jalen Richard. He also had 9 catches with 55 receiving yards. The Broncos, whether it's Brandon Marshall, Will Parks, or Diamante Thomas, need an answer for those 2 guys, a big, fast tight end, and a small, quick running back. I'm giving the Raiders full point advantage here, but I am hopeful the defense knows how to adjust. And here we go, the big dick matchup, Derek Carr versus Case Keenum. It's a battle between two week 1, 3 interception quarterbacks. It's eyeliner versus foundation. What? I know Keenum uses foundation. I've seen the foundation brush, the concealer brush, and the powder brush in his locker. The difference between the 3 picks, though, is Derek Carr had 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, and none of Keenum's picks were in the fourth quarter, and Keenum completed 3 touchdown passes, which many football experts have concluded is better than Derek Carr's 0. Per experts. I expect both Keenum and Carr to play better this week. And say what you want about John Gruden, but only he has the clout to steal Greg Olsen away from the Panthers to be his offensive coordinator for a few weeks while he recovers from his ankle injury. If anyone can get Carr to limit his turnovers, it's Greg Olsen. The key word that currently best represents both of these quarterbacks is potential. Carr's had 2 very good seasons, Keenum's had 1 very good season. Nobody knows for sure if they're franchise guys, and both have a lot to prove this weekend. Keenum played much better than Carr week 1, plus we know he likes waffles. Carr, obviously a pancake guy, and like my grandfather told me on his deathbed, never trust a pancake man. Now, it might have been the morphine, because he then whispered in my ear, "He's right behind you, that pancake man. If you kill him now, we can defeat the Nazis." Right or super high, those are words I live by. Keenum, half-point advantage. Finally, injury report versus injury report. The Raiders are more injured. Clearly, another half-point advantage for the Broncos. Wow, what a lopsided point total for week 2. I'm going to take the Broncos to win, obviously, and I think they need to dominate this game 34-13. That's my prediction for the Broncos. I do have Big Dick Patreon shout-outs for Riley, Aaron Holes, Texans Nation Today, Cody the Ferret, Lift Daddy, upping from $10 to $20. Holy hell, Lift Daddy, thank you. And Big Willie FYTB. Nice. His best corner. And, oh, man. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Subscribe here on YouTube. See these videos on the screen right now? You can click those and watch more football videos I make here. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna, Instagram at Brandon Perna, and we do a weekly Broncos podcast on my second channel, That's Good Broncos, and a Monday morning podcast to recap the Broncos game.